What if I told you the quarterback who just delivered Indiana its first national championship once spent a season redshirting his career? No five-star hype, no national headlines. Off the field, he was helping his mother fight multiple sclerosis. On the field, he was fighting just to prove he belonged.
He's as good as I can remember for a 6'4 plus quarterback, almost Brady-like in this instance, with his lower and upper body in sync mechanics. It is compulsively repetitious, his stroke.
So how does Fernando Mendoza go from a lightly recruited quarterback to a Heisman Trophy winner? How does a kid helping his mother battle a devastating illness end up leading a program to its first national championship? And why is the NFL draft suddenly circling his name as a possible #1 overall pick?
A man whose name is going to be synonymous with greatness. A man who's going to have a statue. We are thankful he chose to head to Bloomington, Indiana from Cal Berkeley. Ladies and gentlemen, national champion quarterback, future first pick of the NFL draft, Fernando Mendoza!
He won the Heisman Trophy. He's been the best player in college football all season. It hasn't been close. The votes showed that. And let's just say it. Fernando Mendoza going into the draft, he should be the #1 pick on everybody's draft board.
He's got a bright future, and nobody's a finished product. I don't care whether you're won the Heisman or you're the 199th pick in the draft.
On whatever team drafts me, I'm grateful, whether it's the #1 pick or whether it's, the 199th pick.
To understand how he got here, we have to go back to the beginning. Born in Boston in October 2003, Mendoza grew up far from the spotlight of college football superstardom. His family story stretched across continents: Spain to Cuba, Cuba to the United States. By the time he reached Christopher Columbus High School in Miami, the only thing people really knew about him was that he could throw a football. Over 2 seasons, he passed for nearly 1,400 yards and 16 touchdowns. Not jaw-dropping numbers, but enough to lead his team to an 11-3 record and a run to the Florida State semifinals.
He's a football nerd. He's super intelligent, and I don't mean football nerd in a bad way.
This isn't an insult.
Yes, he showed up to his very first meeting with me when he was 15 years old with a notebook and a pen, and he took notes in every single meeting.
And Fernando as a person.
He's definitely the type of young man you want your daughter to marry. Fernando's name right there. It's pretty cool.
Recruiting services watched the film. They stamped him with a simple label: 3-star recruit.
Fernando was someone that was relentless in his effort, extremely dedicated. His recruiting was minimal at best, and very few schools were looking at him.
For most quarterbacks, that label becomes a ceiling. Mendoza treated it like a starting point. At first, he committed to Yale.
I thought it was a pretty good high school career. I was satisfied at that moment. And coming out, the only committable offer I had was Yale University, which is a very prestigious school, but more for academics. And I was honored.
An Ivy League path, safe, academic, quiet. Then everything changed. Mendoza flipped his commitment to the University of California, Berkeley, a program with bigger stages and bigger questions. His first year there didn't answer any of them. He redshirted the entire 2022 season. No starts, no spotlight, just waiting, watching, and learning. For a quarterback trying to prove he belonged, patience can feel like invisibility. His moment finally came in Week 6 of the 2023 season against Oregon State. First career start, first real test. Mendoza completed 21 of 32 passes for 207 yards and 2 touchdowns.
To get Mendoza in the mix, here comes the blitz. He hits the seam, all alone, Andrews, touchdown, Golden Bears.
The Golden Bears still lost that game, but something about the offense looked different. Over the next 8 starts, he quietly built momentum. 63% completions, 1,700 yards, 14 touchdowns. California finished 6-7 and reached the Independence Bowl. Not a dream season, but enough to show that Mendoza wasn't just another backup waiting his turn. Away from the field, Mendoza was facing something much bigger than football. His mother, Elsa, has lived with multiple sclerosis.
She is the most optimistic, positive person and our inspiration.
Instead of just talking about it, Mendoza and his brother Alberto decided to help. In the college towns where they played football, they partnered with local restaurants to create special menu items. Every order raised money for multiple sclerosis research, a small idea that quietly raised thousands.
How did you link up with the Mendoza brothers?
We get this email saying, would you be willing to come up with a burger to support the Mendoza's mom, Elsa, in her fight against MS?
So it's a Cuban in burger form?
Sort of, yes.
Okay.
It's our spin on the Cuban. They're not doing it to raise money as much as it is just awareness, to do something.
While Mendoza was building a reputation as a quarterback, he was also fighting a battle far bigger than football. And as his life off the field carried real weight, the pressure on the field was only getting bigger. Entering the 2024 season, the real competition arrived. Graduate transfer Chandler Rogers entered the quarterback room expecting to start. Instead, Mendoza won the job. Week after week, the sophomore began stacking performances that forced people to pay attention. Across 11 starts, he completed nearly 69% of his passes, over 3,000 yards through the air, 16 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. California finished the season 6-5. Not a perfect year, but Mendoza had clearly taken control of the offense. The arm looked stronger, the decisions quicker, the confidence unmistakable. Then came the decision that shocked California fans. December 2024, Mendoza entered the NCAA transfer portal. Less than 2 weeks later, he announced his next destination, Indiana University, the Hoosiers. The same program where his younger brother Alberto joined the quarterback room as a backup before later transferring to Georgia Tech in January 2026. At the time, it looked like a simple transfer. In reality, it became the beginning of one of the most explosive seasons in college football history. The 2025 opener against Old Dominion was solid but unspectacular. 18 completions, just under 200 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Indiana won 27-14. The next week, everything accelerated. Against Kennesaw State, Mendoza completed 18 passes for 245 yards and 4 touchdowns. Indiana walked away with a 56-9 win. Then came Week 4, the performance that made the country look twice. Facing a top 10 Illinois team, Mendoza completed 21 of 23 passes for 267 yards and 5 touchdowns. Indiana won 63-10. Suddenly, the Hoosiers' offense wasn't just efficient, it was unstoppable.
Fernando Mendoza, and you know about the remarkable Indiana story, and I went, oh wow, this kid is different.
By mid-season, the wins kept stacking. Week after week, Indiana kept finding ways to dominate opponents. The offense stretched defenses vertically. Mendoza operated with the calm of a veteran and the aggression of a playmaker. Analysts started whispering something bigger. Even Tom Brady liked what he was seeing.
Everybody in the world saw you watching Fernando Mendoza, who I absolutely love. What did you see from him?
He's played tremendous, all seasons. When you hear him speak, he's just a very mature young man, and he's got a bright future.
For a player who once carried only a 3-star recruiting tag, the hype was becoming impossible to ignore. But the moment that truly changed the season arrived in Week 10. Indiana traveled to face Penn State, a hostile stadium, a tight game. With seconds left, the Hoosiers needed a miracle. Mendoza dropped back and fired a pass to Omar Cooper Jr. for the go-ahead touchdown.
Mendoza! No way! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it's a touchdown. Oh my gosh!
Indiana escaped with a 27-24 victory. Commentators instantly labeled the play a Heisman moment. The momentum never slowed. 1 week later against Wisconsin, Mendoza broke Indiana's single-season touchdown record with his 30th passing score. He finished that game completing 22 of 24 passes for 299 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Hoosiers cruised to a 31-7 win. By the time the regular season finale arrived against Purdue, Indiana stood undefeated. Mendoza threw 2 touchdowns and added another on the ground before leaving the game early in a 56-3 victory. The Hoosiers finished the regular season 12-0, a season without a single loss. The postseason only made the story louder. In the Big Ten championship against number 1 ranked Ohio State, Mendoza threw for 222 yards and a touchdown. Indiana pulled off a shocking 13-10 win, the program's first conference title since 1967. And Mendoza was named the game's MVP.
I'm getting real pushback on Fernando Mendoza as an A quarterback prospect. The last time I got this much pushback on a quarterback I love, maybe you've heard of him, Sam Darnold.
Then came the Rose Bowl, Indiana versus Alabama, one of college football's most historic stages. Mendoza completed 14 of 16 passes for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. Indiana crushed the Crimson Tide 38-3. Weeks later, he followed that performance with another statement. 5 touchdown passes against Oregon in the Peach Bowl. Indiana kept winning. And finally, in the College Football Playoff National Championship against Miami, Mendoza delivered the final chapter. 16 completions, 186 passing yards, a rushing touchdown. Indiana won 27-21 and captured the first national title in school history.
5 Heisman Trophy is Fernando Mendoza.
AP College Football Player of the Year, Maxwell Award, Davey O'Brien Award, National Champion, Offensive MVP of the title game. For a quarterback who once carried a 3-star label, the transformation was unbelievable. After the championship season, Mendoza made the decision that everyone expected. He declared for the 2026 NFL Draft. At the Combine, his measurements confirmed what scouts already knew.
Got a Heisman Trophy winner who goes undefeated, who wins the national championship, who has one of the epic moments.
6'5", 236 pounds. Prototype size for a modern NFL quarterback. He didn't even need to throw during workouts. His film had already done the talking. Many analysts now believe he could become the #1 overall pick. And maybe the most interesting part of the story is the connection to his childhood hero. Mendoza has often said that Tom Brady is his idol.
Tom Brady, he's been a huge football idol of mine.
The quarterback he studied growing up. Now the same legend has publicly praised the young passer's rise.
His leadership is what stands out to me. It's his relatability to his teammates, and he's overcome a lot of things in his career. He's a Miami kid, went to Cal, to Indiana, and then you go to a program that hasn't won anything in forever.
For a player who once flew under the recruiting radar, that kind of respect says everything. From a lightly recruited quarterback, to a redshirt waiting in California, to the player who just delivered Indiana its first national championship. Along the way, he was helping his mother battle multiple sclerosis and supporting his family. Fernando Mendoza's journey doesn't follow the usual path of college football superstars. It's slower, messier, and somehow even more impressive. Now the next stage is waiting, the NFL Draft, the #1 pick, and maybe a new chapter with the Raiders. The question now isn't how far Mendoza has come, it's how far he's about to go. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and explore more of our content here on the channel.